There's a lot of fun activities to do around the City of Trees. Maybe nothing as fun as fishing.
Yeah.
And I know bluegill fish are on the top of a lot of fishermen and fisherwomen, anglers I should say, list on trying to find them this summer. So joining us now to talk about the bluegill, Tight Lines 208, Jordan Rodriguez. Jordan, thanks so much for being here. Brenda, I know you and I have been wanting to know, where do you find these bluegill?
Yeah, great question. So good news is with bluegill, there's a lot of places locally, almost every little pond, city ponds, park ponds. If you have a pond in your neighborhood even, those probably have bluegill in them. So those aren't stocked by Fish and Game. They're just naturally occurring. Well, they were stocked at one point, but now they're just naturally reproducing and living in there. And so they just sustain, and they're almost always in those ponds. Some of the reservoirs and lakes will have them too. Like there's a few in Lake Lowell, not like a super high population there. CJ Strike has a lot of bluegill, but if you're just looking to get out and get the kids on some fish, almost any pond in the Treasure Valley is going to have some bluegill in it.
And how are you going to reel them in? What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so the key with bluegill is small. So they are a smaller fish, but even on the scale of the size they have a very small mouth, tiny mouth. So a lot of times I see people struggle with hooking them. They're getting lots of bites, but they're not able to hook that fish. And the reason is they're probably using something too big. So if I'm fishing for bluegill, my jig head sizes are going to be 1/32 of an ounce. Or even smaller than that. So really teeny tiny with like a little piece of plastic or maybe like a chunk of worm. But if you're throwing like a big hook with a full night crawler on it, they're going to be trying to get it, but their mouth's just too small. You're probably going to miss most of those fish.
So you really got to use the lure that's going to be most attractive to the fish in the area. I'm more of like, let's take the big picture and see how it went. How big is a big bluegill? Of course, you just mentioned they are small fish.
Yeah, so for most people, of course, it depends on the size of your hands and whatnot, but for most adult people, if it's about the size of your hand, that's a really big bluegill. So 8, 9, 10 inches, that's starting to be really big. And the thing with them is they don't just necessarily grow long ways, they grow almost like this. So when they get a really big one, they'll call them like a Frisbee or a dinner plate because they're almost perfectly circular. So they're only 10 inches long, but they're also 10 inches this way. And when they get into that size class, they usually weigh about a pound. And here in Idaho waters, that's a really big bluegill.
I have to ask for the beginner fishers out there, is this a good fish to fish? Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for a lot of people, it's probably the first fish you ever caught.
Oh, good.
I know it was for me growing up in Michigan, and it is for probably hundreds of kids around the Treasure Valley as well, because we just do have them in so many of the local ponds. So they're a schooling fish, they're in a big group, and they're usually pretty hungry, pretty aggressive. So if you find them and you're using that right small gear, it can be a really good thing for beginners, kids, or really just anyone looking to catch a bunch of fish.
Awesome.
That'll be my first fish.
Okay, we'll go get Brenda a fish soon. Jordan Rodriguez from Tight Lines 208. Catch him every week here on the News at 4 on Wednesdays. We have to take a quick break. We're getting back to that breaking news, severe weather, right after a quick commercial.